We are going in depth today on the St. Petersburg Pier project. It is moving forward, and we're getting a look at what's in store. Now, that project has faced some scrutiny from the public, and it's undergone a lot of revisions, and it may surprise you what it looks like now. But it seems now, with all of the ideas pouring together, the pier's design becoming a lot more clear. Today, one of the architects involved in that project is here to tell us more in depth about what it took to turn this concept into something everyone can enjoy. Joining me right now, John Curran with ASD Sky, one of the architects involved in this wonderful project called the Pier Park, or whatever they're going to call it now, and also Rogers Architects and Urban Design. First of all, thank you for coming by.
You're very welcome. Big
milestone. They cut the check per se. We're full steam ahead now. You excited about the project?
Very excited. Very excited. It's a milestone in the process, and now we're basically going to really complete the detail and ultimately get to a point where we can get this under construction.
Now, there were some changes that took place, and a lot of people will look at the drawings right now and then say, boy, this is different than what we originally saw. Tell me about the process, because it's not exactly like you changed the design as much as it was you sitting down with city officials, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, and then fine-tuning it.
Yeah, when we go through a competition, you know, we don't have the benefit of actually working with the client. And the client in this case is the city of St. Petersburg and the people of St. Petersburg. And we really didn't have that benefit of actually working with them and going through that process. So we created a concept, and from that concept, we bring it to the table, and we sat down with the city, we sat down with stakeholders, we sat down with community folks and throughout the city. The design refined itself. We reacted to certain things, programmatic elements, like I think I mentioned before, the idea of the restaurant. Our restaurant previously was actually facing towards the bay, and as we learned, it was more beneficial for the city and even restaurateurs that would come and use this space to actually have that view facing the city and facing the beautiful skyline of St. Petersburg. So we actually flipped it, and we actually looked at different modifications to the pier head that reacted programmatically to what the city needed.
And I guess that's part of the key. This is what the city wanted. So you came with a design, and they say, this is how you're going to have to change it for us.
Yeah, but I do want to emphasize the fact that the idea that was formerly known as Pier Park is now the new St. Petersburg Pier, was an idea that was essentially about experiences. It was about different activities along the entire pier. So those activities and those programmatic experiences are still all intact. The pierhead building may have adjusted in terms of its image, but all of those concepts and all of those experiences are still there.
Now, we're talking about some of those floating docks. Do you think that will eventually get approved? Because I realize right now that when you have to hit the budget, those were things that just couldn't make it.
I think there's a possibility, whether it is through additional funds, we're at a stage what we call schematic design, which is early in the design process. We go through the process. We actually detail our construction elements of the project, and we hope to actually find possibilities to pay for those even during this early process without those funds. It's just part of the design process that we go through. The reason we actually isolated those floating docks as add alternates was to protect the budget, because these are pieces that could literally be added on very easily. What we want to make sure we do first is the concrete construction, the permanent 75-year construction that we were charged to do.
Still is the distance out that it was before, or that has moved in?
It's about 150 feet shorter. It's still, the very end of the pier is actually still 1,265 feet, and we're about 150 feet shorter than the old pier.
But you still had to be built on the original caissons, right, that were there?
Yeah, we examined those caissons, and it was actually more beneficial. There's many factors to the reasons why we decided not to use those caissons for the building, and it basically boiled down to it really didn't work for the building design that we were looking at. So we moved them, and what we actually are using them now for is a new fishing pier deck that's at the very end. So we've created a deck that's lower to the water by using the caissons. So it's only, you'd actually fish on a concrete deck that's only about 5 feet off of the water.
Right.
And I think from a national fisheries and wildlife standpoint, that's preferred, because the closer we are to the water, the safer it is for the animals' entanglements, whether it's with birds or turtles. This is a better thing.
And one thing that I don't think the public realizes is that now you have part two, which is the other pier landings, everything that's in front of that. and how those two groups are going to integrate into an entire experience. It'll go from the Vinoy all the way down to, well, the Dahlia, actually.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've started the process of actually working with the Pier Approach team, and we're doing our best to actually make sure that this is a seamless integration of ideas, and so that the entire Pier District really becomes one place. That team is a little bit behind us. We're actually advancing to what we call design development.
Sure.
And they're kind of catching up, but it's still at an early stage of the design process where we can actually coordinate and pull those pieces together.
Now, will there be stuff for kids to do? Because are there going to be splash pads and those kind of things that kids just love? Absolutely.
There will be a splash pad. We asked for the opportunity to perhaps enhance that splash pad, but there will be a splash pad. We are refurbishing Spa Beach. We're creating a larger beach, partially not only to make it a recreation zone from a beach standpoint, but to actually protect the seagrasses that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why we did that was we were trying to create, not only within our pier, but also as it moves to the north and Spa Beach, an opportunity for all of the seagrasses that are out there to grow and be enhanced, because the new pier is about getting to the water. It's about sort of an ecological experience, an education experience that people really need to know what's happening in the bay, in their own bay, whether it's wildlife, whether the ecological systems the seagrasses provide. And so kids can go out onto Spa Beach, kids could go to the splash pad, kids can hang out at the Welcome Plaza, perhaps bring their bikes, rent a bike, go up on the tilted lawn, just hang out. The tilted lawn is something we haven't talked much about, but it's an opportunity for people to look back towards the city, but also just sort of climb up, look down into the water, be about 15 feet above the actual pier, looking out towards the east, looking out towards the education center and the pier head building. Just a lot of different activities. Then as you move out towards the east, you'll come to the education center, my favorite part of the whole project. It's the opportunity there where the pier suddenly opens up to the water, and you can actually see that interaction with the seagrasses. We're keeping some remnants of the old piles of the old pier because we want to keep the barnacles and the oysters and the things that have been growing on those, so that ecological system stays intact. And there's actually an outdoor amphitheater where people can have an outdoor class and essentially look at the water and see that wildlife, see how the seagrasses interact, and you see how people can actually touch the water and have all of these different kinds of experiences. And at the same time, you're seeing an opportunity for landscaping and for trees to actually come out onto the pier.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, which I think is really important, because places for people to sort of get out of the sun, you know, find places for shade, cover, and comfort. And that was really important.
And when is this supposed to be done? Guesstimate?
Our goal, the hope is that we're going to start construction early in 2017 and be finished by mid-2018.
2018. Well, it'll be great. And the uplands are all done at the same time too, so the whole project?
Exactly. That's the idea.
That's
so they'll
be
catch up.
That's great. John, thank you so much for stopping by. Good luck with the project. And let's get to 2018 quickly, shall we?
Yeah, great. Thanks. You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
All right. Bye.
Now, demolition crews still have a lot of work on their hands, and actually slightly behind schedule. They'd hope to have the old pier torn down by September to meet that deadline of 2017, early 2018.